There is nothing good about Friday Night SmackDown anymore, and it is so embarrassing and painful to make it through these episodes. But just like last week's episode, this video is being made like 30 minutes before the show even ends, because believe it or not, once again for the second week straight, I nearly fell asleep and actually dozed off multiple times during this episode, already like 2 hours in. So I have to record this before the show ends so I can actually get this out in time before I fall asleep from watching garbage. So basically, the Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga main event, I haven't seen that as of the recording of this, but I will cover that at the end of the video, right? However, this is just a boring and bad episode. SmackDown going to 3 hours is genuinely one of the worst possible decisions that could have ever been made. You already have enough boring and filler and a bad roster in general on a 2-hour show. What genius thought it would be a great idea to add an extra hour to that? You know what I mean? Do you want people to just fall asleep? Like, is that what you want? You know, it really is just embarrassing at this point. This episode is one of the worst SmackDowns I've ever seen in my life. Nothing meaningful happened. Nothing good happened. And at the end of the day, it's absolutely egregious how boring this show is. It really is. We start off with Paul Heyman, who comes out and, he says, my name is Paul Heyman. And before I get fully into this review, this crowd tonight in Portland, Oregon was atrocious. The energy was dead. The commentary team of Wade Barrett had multiple voice cracks, saying a bunch of nonsense. Joe Tessitore, one thing I respect about Joe Tessitore.
I don't know why the fans came tonight. Honestly, they were so dead. They were so dead.
Is that he provides energy when it's actually necessary, and he feeds off of the energy from the match and from the crowd, or from the segment that's happening in the ring. Do you get what I'm saying? So tonight, the energy from the crowd was absolutely dead, the promos were awful, and the wrestling was mediocre to bad at most of the time, and so therefore Joe Tessitore was pretty, melancholy or like mellow sounding during this entire night on his announcements, because number one, nobody cares. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Joe Tessitore is at least keeping it real. There's nothing to get hype over. You shouldn't be yelling like Corey Graves talking about some or Michael Cole's like, oh wow, what a show. Like, dude, it's not that good. Calm down. The show was atrocious. Grow up. Anyways, then we get to Paul Heyman. He cuts his promo. He's here in the absence of Roman Reigns because, again, Roman Reigns doesn't show up to work anymore. So just accept it and deal with it at this point. As much as I like Roman Reigns, he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, this dude doesn't show up to work, and it's egregious. It's Mania season. The least you can do is at least show up to work, man. You haven't been on a SmackDown or a Raw outside of Raw on Netflix. You haven't showed up in like 4 or 5 weeks. Come on, man. You had a feud with Solo that you could have been there to build. You have the Royal Rumble that you could be here to build. But instead, we're not going to see Roman Reigns till January 27th on Raw on Netflix. And he's going to be in the ring cutting some promo or saying about how he needs to be acknowledged. It's like, dude, show up to work. It's Mania season. I understand you're part-time the rest of the year, and I get it. There was a lot of stuff that took place in his personal life over 2024 with the losses of his uncle and his father. Rest in peace to Afa and Sika, obviously. And, the break he took after Mania was well-deserved. He was champion for 4 years straight. I get it. But now it's time to build the Mania season, and the fact that he's nowhere to be found just takes so much joy and excitement and quality and meaningfulness from the show. So now we're just left with Paul Heyman cutting an otherwise boring promo, basically saying Roman Reigns is entering the Royal Rumble. He's going to come back and he's going to challenge for that title once he wins the Royal Rumble. It's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. I love that line from Paul Heyman, not going to lie. It's a pretty good line. And that's pretty basically happens. Paul Heyman basically says that Roman Reigns is the true, reigning, defending, undisputed Brock, but he says Roman is the only tribal chief, the defending and undisputed one. And then we basically get Cody Rhodes is invited out to the ring by Paul Heyman because Roman Reigns is basically going to challenge Cody for the WWE Championship after he wins the Royal Rumble. That's what Paul Heyman says, okay? Roman wanted Paul to go out and say that, and before Cody Rhodes can even respond to this, he has a bunch of stupid facial expressions, just absolutely random. He's wiggling his face around. I don't know what he's doing. He looks absolutely ridiculous. It's weird. It's awkward, and it doesn't make any sense. You're making weird facial expressions based off of nothing. Kevin Owens shows up in the crowd and basically says the same stuff. He brings up The Rock this previous Monday, and he's like, because The Rock kissed up to you and gave you your compliments and boosted your ego, and he moved on from you, now all of a sudden you want to act all happy-go-lucky and shake his hand and hug him and drink your libations with him pretty much. And then Kevin Owens says, we're not done yet. You're a suck-up to Roman Reigns, and you're going to give him another chance to be on the top of the mountain and kill the industry. And then what's it called? And another chance for The Rock to be back as well, or whatever he said. And that's pretty much that. Kevin Owens gets ran up on by Cody Rhodes up on the ramp, and Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes basically fight down into the stands with the crowd, or up into the stands, I should say. And then that's pretty much that. The problem with this whole entire situation is that Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens are fighting for the WWE title at Royal Rumble in like 4 weeks from now. I told you as soon as they announced this match a week or two ago, I told you that this feud was going to be boring and garbage. The reason why is because you have 5 weeks to build it, and you know in those 5 weeks, number one, Cody Rhodes is not going to be wrestling any matches at all, and if he is, they're going to be absolutely meaningless. Number two, Cody's going to have filler. The fact that he's fighting with Jimmy Uso against Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga lets you know how much filler and how bad this dude's championship reign has truly become. He has nothing to do. He has a title match in 5 weeks. He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't cut promos. He doesn't cut any good promos when he is cutting promos. So how are you supposed to build a feud when only one person is doing the work? You know? And even Kevin Owens isn't really doing anything anymore to build this feud. He was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but not anymore. You know? It's going to be a stereotypical standard ladder match that Cody will win in about 20 minutes at Royal Rumble, and we'll move on with their lives. And Kevin Owens will go fight Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the 50th time. And then after that, Kevin Owens may retire within the next year or two. Who knows? You know? This feud sucks. It was hot for like 2 weeks because Cody and KO did a good promo segment, and KO was doing stuff off camera that was really cool as well, but now it's trash. And so you have a bad champion who didn't even say a word tonight on the mic, thankfully. He didn't waste our time talking about Nick Bockwinkel and respect and I love you. But one of the things we have to discuss, Paul Heyman basically, when Cody was brought out into the ring, he basically tells Cody Rhodes how much he respects him and how much Roman Reigns respects him and how amazing of a champion Cody Rhodes has become and how much greatness he's shown. Cody hasn't done anything. He's had 6 title defenses in like 300 days. And then on top of that, you know, Cody Rhodes isn't cutting any good promos. He's not leading the industry because CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, heck, Jey Uso, LA Knight, and the list, there's probably a couple other people I'm not even talking about, are much better than Cody Rhodes is in terms of wrestling and in-ring performances over the last like year or so at this point, you know, since Cody's been champion. So I'm tired of hearing about how amazing this dude is, and he's being glazed by The Rock and Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns apparently respects this dude. What's there to respect? His John Cena schedule where he barely shows up to work, you know? So don't give me this garbage. And after the brawl with Cody and KO ended, Paul Heyman went back into the ring, and Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga were basically standing there, right? And then after this happens, they act like they're going to beat him up. For some reason, they just stand there and stare at him for a minute without attacking him. And then Jimmy Uso comes out and saves the wise man, and then Cody Rhodes comes back down from the stands and helps Jimmy fight against Tama and Jacob, because Jacob and Tama were about to beat Jimmy up with a chair around his neck or whatever. And that's that. Sets up a match we're going to get later tonight with just Cody and Jimmy versus Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. And then after this is done, we get Michin and Chelsea Green, part 15, 9 billion, 3.6 quadrillion, tillion, mandillion, million, and the millions and millions. You know, it's just absurd. This match is nothing to...
I thought this match was okay. And if you know, you know.
To speak about this match, Chelsea Green obviously retains her championship due to interference with Piper Niven and the fact that she kind of, you know, just kind of stole a victory because of Piper interfering or whatnot, and Chelsea had a little sneaky win, whatever. Like, nobody cares about this stuff. This U.S. championship already means absolutely nothing. Chelsea Green has not done anything to elevate it. Michin definitely has not done anything to elevate it. And to be quite frankly honest with you guys, Michin and Chelsea Green's feud has been atrocious. They've wrestled 50 matches together all...
Yeah, why he got her looking crazy.
Year over the last year. Piper Niven versus Michin is the same thing every single week. They've wrestled like 5 times each. They've wrestled each other 5 times at this point, you know, in the last like 3 months alone. It's the same collection of matches. You ever notice that about SmackDown? It's either Michin versus Chelsea Green, or Michin versus Piper Niven, or Michin versus Chelsea Green, or Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Michin and some random jobber, you know? Or if you go to the tag team division, it's DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns, or Motor City Machine Guns versus A-Town Down Under, or Motor City Machine Guns versus, like, I don't even know, not even the Street Profits, bro, just some other bums, because the Street Profits now are never on the show. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins need to leave WWE, man. Because at this point, if you're not even going to be out there put on the show with the talents that they have and the abilities they have, and they're in a good age, in like their mid-30s or early 30s, they should be respected a lot more and treated better than this, but they're not. So I'm done with this garbage. Fire the Street Profits and just be done with them, man. If you're not going to use their talent, then maybe AEW will or someone else will, man. Or maybe they go into acting or something, do something like that. Montez Ford can do commercial acting pretty well, I'm assuming. I mean, he's done good commercial acting in the past with the Snickers stuff, so he should be fine, man. But anyways, back to the task at hand. Michin and Chelsea Green is just a bad feud. The title means nothing. It's a filler title to throw out for the jobbers and undercard woman. Like, we're never going to have Chelsea Green be WWE Women's Champion or World Champion, right? If it happens, it'll be a casualty and her reign will last like 2 weeks, you know? It's not going to happen. Her and Michin are built for the undercard or the midcard at best. This is what they do. So they wrestle meaningless matches week after week. It's a predictable finish, and nobody cares. The whole, Chelsea Green, and she's like a diva, you know, she has the diva vibes from the 2000s. Like, yeah, I get that. That's a different, you know, it's a cool, unique aesthetic. She has a unique character. But again, it's boring because nothing happens with it. Michin is boring. Piper Niven is boring. The women's division as a whole is boring. I don't care that Rhea's champ. I don't care that Tiffany's champ. Tiffany Stratton came out later tonight and had an awful promo. So nobody cares who the champion is. Show me that you're great, and then maybe I'll actually change my mind. But until then, I'm gonna have to sit back and watch garbage content over and over and over again. Just like Pretty Deadly versus Garza and Berto was garbage. Garza and Berto won this match, I'm pretty sure. I don't even remember. I think I dozed off during this. But Berto and Garza did a solid job in this match. So maybe they have some upside. Maybe something will happen down the line. But Pretty Deadly is just trash. Nobody cares about them. You add an extra hour to the show to pad out the runtime with jobbers like these dudes and Apollo Crews backstage. Like, this show is just an absolute unmitigated disaster. There's really no other way to describe it at this point. And then we had a backstage segment where LA Knight, or Jacob Fatu, was basically standing down with a security guard. The security guard looked like he was like a kid my age or something. He looked like he was like 18 or 19 max. And then all of a sudden, you know, Jacob Fatu's threatening the guy. Then LA Knight like pushes Jacob Fatu out the door. And he's like, you know, if Jacob Fatu doesn't want to use his inside voice, then I'll make him use his outside voice. Yeah. And then this leads into LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This match was boring, and I dozed off during this match as well. There was a couple good moments, though, towards the end of the match before the interferences happened from Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. But the match itself had decent in-ring work rate. You know, Shinsuke did a decent job with his Kinshasa moves or whatever, and the little sliding German suplex he does I thought was nice. LA Knight did a good job here with the pickup body slams, you know, the physicality. It was a pretty decent match. It was better than their match in Survivor Series, so I'll say that. But it basically ends with Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu getting involved because of what LA Knight did in that backstage segment, and they're beating the crap out of him. And then Cody Rhodes and, you know, I think Jimmy Uso as well came out, and they helped out LA Knight during this brawl with the Bloodline. Again, Cody Rhodes after Bad Blood was complaining and saying how much he was done with the Bloodline, and he's done with Roman, and he's done with Solo and Jacob Fatu and all this other nonsense, and now all of a sudden he's fighting and feuding with them regardless. So I'm just honestly tired of hearing all of this nonsense, man. It's absolutely egregious, right? LA Knight at this point has the talent of a main eventer, but for some reason is relegated to being a mid-card jobber or an undercard jobber at this point. It's really disgusting, and it's absolutely embarrassing. LA Knight, Montez Ford, Carmelo Hayes, you know, even Braun Breaker, even though he has an IC belt, he's still being treated like an undercard jobber because he's barely on the show. So those four people who have great talent and, you know, just get treated like crap by the booking, they need to probably leave the company. Either that or they need to get pushed in 2025 because this is just an absolute embarrassment at this point. After this happens, we get Austin Theory and I think Grayson Waller versus the Motor City Machine Bums. Again, the Motor City Machine Guns are boring. They get no reaction from the crowd, and nobody cares about them. So when you have a combination of those things, there's nothing to really talk about here. They come out, they beat A-Town Down Under. So what? Like, so what, man? I'm so bored with SmackDown. It's such a bad show. Like, nothing happens, dude. So what? Austin Theory and Grayson Waller fought on SmackDown for the second time in 6 months. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about DIY. No one even knows that DIY is probably the tag champs. People already forgot about them. Motor City Machine Guns, forgot about. They're boring. They wrestle the same matches every single week. It's the same match, you know? Do something new. Cut a promo. Do something engaging with your... Like, it's not engaging. The crowd is dead all night. They don't care about the Motor City Machine Bums. And at the end of the day, you know, like I always say, it's not raise your fists. it's raise your heads. Because if you don't fall asleep while watching these guys, I genuinely would give you a clap and a round of applause, because this is embarrassing now at this point. Now we move on from this, and I'm pretty sure after this happened, we got the Tiffany Stratton segment. Basically, Tiffany Stratton comes out to the ring and does what she does best. Say absolute nonsense and say it in a high-pitched voice that's very annoying. Tiffany Stratton comes out and she's like, I had a Tiffany epiphany. What a great day today was. Isn't that right, guys? Cheap Pop. Hey, guys, I took the title from Nia Jax last week. Cheap Pop raised the title. Then after this, it's, hey, guys, a Tiffany epiphany just happened again. I outsmarted Nia Jax and showed her why I am better than her. Raise the title, cheap pop from the crowd again. Haha, it's Tiffy time. Raise the title, cheap pop from the crowd again. And then again, she says the same stuff. I outsmarted her. I was better than her. And Nia Jax never took advantage of me. I took advantage of her being a dummy. And then Nia Jax comes out. You know the cadence in Nia Jax promos lets you know they're extra scripted and just not good. So Nia Jax comes out and basically says, Tiffy, you ungrateful little you-know-what. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much Nia Jax is basically talking about how, you know, you disrespected me, you made a joke out of me, and now I'm gonna take your title back. She says to give me my title back. I'm like, are you kidding me? If I win a WWE Championship, the only way you're getting this off me is if you beat me for it. Fool. You know what I'm saying? You ain't taking this title from me. Are you out of your mind? So what, I don't even know what that line of dialogue even was. And then after this happens, Bayley comes out, absolutely bores the crowd to death, basically saying the same stuff. Ding dong, Nia Jax, you're a big idiot. Nia Jax, you're a dummy. The only reason you have that belt is because of Tiffany. Like, dude, stop the nonsense. Just stop it. Stop with these bad promos. Don't send these wrestlers out into the ring to cut promos if the source material is garbage, or if they're gonna bore the crowd to death, or if they're just gonna frankly be annoying, no offense. Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green and Liv Morgan, the cadence to their promos, and Bayley as well, I find them very annoying. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It isn't any offense to the wrestlers, but the actual performers and the characters, they suck at promos. They do. They're boring, it's annoying, and it's not interesting at all, in my personal opinion. Anyways, after this happens, we get Naomi and Bianca Belair, and they walk out. Naomi basically says, and Ted, of you, what's it called? We're gonna fight, or what's it called? I deserve a chance for your championship. She does that.
I have to finish this paper. I'm swamped. No one told me college would be so...
At the end of it, raise your fists. You know, I don't even know what's happening anymore at this point. Naomi basically says that she deserves a championship because, you know, she got costed out of one last week by Tiffany. And then it just brawls. You know, Nia Jax 3v1s Naomi, Bianca, and Bayley in a brawl because for some reason now she's an annihilator who can 3v1 people, but somehow, some way she needs Tiffany to beat Meechin in a championship match, but that's beyond the point. Nick Aldis comes out and announces a fatal 4-way, and we get an absolutely boring match that I don't even remember half of what happened. Tiffany Stratton is basically going to face the winner of this match, and the winner ended up being Bayley, which was just bad booking. Nia Jax is supposed to be the annihilator. She just came off of a championship reign that she lost off of a Money in the Bank cash-in after already being knocked out. So, I mean, that doesn't really count. You know, she should still be looking strong. But instead, she just gets hit by Bianca Belair, falls over the announce table. Bayley goes up and hits the Rose Plant on Naomi. 1, 2, 3. The match is over. Naomi and Nia Jax looked extremely just like, they looked like they had no stamina during this match. Like, everything was in slow motion. They were taking a lot of stoppages and pauses for taking breaths. Like, it was just a very slow and poorly choreographed match with maybe 1 or 2 good spots like the powerbomb into the Samoan drop from the top rope. Outside of that, nothing was impressive about this match, and now we're getting Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship next week on SmackDown, and let's be real with ourselves, nobody cares. Like, let's just be honest. We know Tiffany's gonna retain, so nothing about this is really engaging whatsoever. So, you know, there you have it. And now I looked at a couple clips of the main event stuff. The Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes match versus Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu seemed to be pretty boring for the most part, but what I can say is that Kevin Owens got involved at some point in this match, and him and Cody basically brawled into the stands, and then Cody kind of like pushed him and brawled him so much that they went through a table together. So that was pretty much that. Kevin Owens looks like he took a hard bump. He was grabbing onto his neck, so hopefully he's okay. But there you have it. This SmackDown was absolutely atrocious, and the fact that I nearly fell asleep on multiple occasions, and straight up I think I did for like probably 2 or 3 minutes, and I absolutely was dozed off and unengaged with any of this nonsense. This show is probably going to get a solid 3 out of 10. Now, obviously, the Cody Rhodes and
Oh,
Kevin Owens feud,
too.
they're trying to build this thing passively with these brawl segments, but now it's repetitive. Go and at each other's throats on the mic and build something special, build something meaningful, build something epic that the quote-unquote captain of the industry can make. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to do that, then there's no point of any of this absolute and utter nonsense. So with that being said, I'm going to give this SmackDown actually a 1 out of 10 because I feel like the 3 is way too high. This failed on every single level possible. 1 out of 10 SmackDown. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. And as usual, I hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Peace out. One love.